The wife of a celebrated chef and restaurant owner disappeared. He said she left him. What happened next stunned their community.
In a small town called Lomita, California, a chef named David Viens stunned everyone with a disturbing confession. He said he accidentally killed his wife and did something beyond belief to hide the evidence. As the trial revealed, the whole country couldn't look away from the dark secrets and frightening deeds that came to light. The story is like a real-life crime thriller, with a jaw-dropping ending. Get ready to hear about David Viens and the horrible fate of his wife. David Viens, the chef who admitted to authorities that he accidentally killed his wife and disposed of her body by cooking it, was sentenced to 15 years to life in prison. In October 2009, Dawn Viens, a 39-year-old woman, peculiarly vanished from her shared apartment with husband David Viens, a chef and cafe owner in Lomita, California. David claimed they had been arguing over her alcohol use, and he believed she wanted to escape her life. Despite a huge search, no trace of her was found, and authorities concluded she was likely no longer alive. There were no signs of activity such as contacting friends or using credit cards or a cell phone, and she left behind her personal belongings and vehicle. David Viens, the owner of Time Contemporary Cafe, faced legal trouble after the odd disappearance of his wife, Dawn Viens, in 2009. Detectives closed in on him, leading him to attempt suicide by jumping off a cliff, but he survived. In 2011, he was charged with the murder of his wife, and the trial revealed chilling details. During the trial in Los Angeles Superior Court, jurors heard astonishing tapes of Viens confessing that he accidentally killed his wife, then slow-cooked her remains in a drum and hid her skull in his mother's attic. Prosecutors argued that the murder resulted from a rage over missing money from their jointly run sandwich shop. The trial exposed the once happy couple's tragic downfall and the disturbing events that followed. Despite sitting nearby in a wheelchair, Viens maintained his plea of not guilty, claiming that he did not deliberately try to kill his wife. During the trial, he informed Judge Rand S. Rubin that he would not be testifying in his defense. The inquiry into Dawn Viens's disappearance was initiated on November 18, 2009, after her sister, Dana Papine, and friends reported her missing. In a police interview, David Viens recounted the events of October 18, the night he believes his wife was killed. He stated that they had a heated argument about her unnecessary drinking, as she was often drunk and had issues with people when drunk. Earlier that day, Dawn was again drunk at their sandwich shop and lost money. Later, they had dinner together at California Pizza Kitchen, after which David dropped her off at home and returned to work. It was the last time he saw her alive. David Viens at first claimed that he returned home on the night of his wife's disappearance, found her gone, and went to bed after taking an Ambien. The next day, when she was still missing, he tried contacting her several times through texts and calls. When questioned why he didn't call the police, Viens explained that he received a text message from his wife a few days or possibly a week or two later, stating that she was okay and with a friend. He also mentioned speaking to her on the phone when he picked up his daughter from the airport, and she told him she needed some time alone. According to David Viens, his wife returned home on October 25 and pleaded with him to leave their life in Lomita and escape to the mountains together. However, the next day, he insisted her to consider checking into rehab. The day after that conversation, she disappeared once again. When customers at the sandwich shop asked about Dawn's whereabouts, Viens provided different clarifications, stating she had gone to rehab, traveled to the mountains, or visited friends on the East Coast. During the investigation into Dawn Viens's disappearance, missing persons detectives interviewed Todd Stagnito, a longshoreman. Stagnito revealed that on the night she went missing, he saw David Viens going through the restaurant receipts and calculating the day's earnings. Viens appeared stressed and informed Stagnito that the day's earnings were short. During the trial, Todd Stagnito testified that David Viens had made threatening statements about his wife, saying, "That bitch is stealing from me. Nobody steals from me. I will kill that bitch." Later that night, Stagnito received a distraught call from Dawn, who was upset about her husband's discontent with her work. Detectives also spoke with Joe Cacase, the owner of a nearby motorcycle repair shop. He revealed that before Dawn's disappearance, she had given him an envelope filled with money and asked him to keep it a secret from her husband. On the night she disappeared, she called Cacase again, informing him that she had more money for him to hold. Dawn Viens' disappearance remained a missing persons case until August 2010, when the investigation was transferred to the Sheriff's Department Homicide Unit. Homicide detectives traveled to South Carolina to speak with Viens' daughter, Jacqueline, who disclosed that her father had confessed to killing his wife. The detectives asked Jacqueline to inform her father that she had spoken to the police, and she daringly did so, warning him that they were coming after him and that she had told them everything. The morning after Dawn Viens' disappearance, David Viens appeared visibly distressed, as testified by his girlfriend at the time, Kathy Galvin. He picked up a newspaper, the Daily Breeze, which carried a story about his charged involvement in his wife's death. He apologized to Galvin and confessed, saying that Dawn was not coming back and that her death was an accident. He expressed a desire to tell Galvin the truth. Galvin advised him to consult with a lawyer, but instead, Viens drove his car to Palos Verdes and jumped off an 80-foot cliff in front of her. In a significant development, Viens inadvertently laid the blame on himself while recovering in the hospital from the fall. He spoke to detectives, who were recording the conversation, and admitted that on the night of October 18th, during an argument with Dawn, he ended up restraining her with duct tape in the living room. He claimed that he went to sleep but later found her dead, leading to his panicked decision to dispose of her body in a plastic garbage bag and take it to his workplace. Viens explained that his actions were caused by discovering her stealing money, which seemingly caused him to lose control and act violently. In a shocking confession to detectives, David Viens revealed frightening details about how he disposed of his wife's body. He said he placed her small body in a 55-gallon drum filled with boiling water at the restaurant. Using weights to keep her face down, he slow-cooked her remains for an unbelievable 4 days. Viens admitted to manipulating her body during the cooking process. When asked by detectives about cooking on her body for 4 days, Viens chillingly confirmed it. Afterward, he allowed her remains to cool and then strained them out. He admitted to disposing of the left parts either in the restaurant's grease pit or in garbage bags. To hide evidence, Viens decided to keep his wife's skull and jawbone as he didn't want to get rid of them in case he wanted to leave them somewhere. He revealed that he hid these parts for safekeeping in his mother's attic in nearby Torrance. Despite the police later searching the attic completely, they were unable to find Dawn Viens' skull or jawbone, adding an unsettling element to the already gruesome and tragic case. The defense suggested that the combination of drugs administered to Viens by doctors might have altered his memory. Viens' attorney dismissed his confession about cooking his wife's body as an unbelievable and fantastic tale. However, prosecutors argued that Viens had a strong motive to guarantee no evidence of his wife's death remained. By disposing of her body in the manner he described, he essentially removed any traces that could have shed light on the cause of her death. As we reach the end of this eerie story, let's pause and think. The tale of David Viens reminds us that danger can hide where we least expect it. As we say goodbye to this grasping story, let's remember to appreciate our loved ones because life can be unpredictable.
There's no happy ending. I don't think there's any winners or losers. 2 families have suffered tremendously, and we will continue to. He has to pay for what he did. He tried to get away with it.
And if you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel.